Use your head.
But I don't want to use my head!
Hey, everybody, this is Erico and I am back again on your screens. Hope you guys are doing well. Why? Because it's 2 weeks till Christmas. Hope you all are getting it together with the shopping and the decorations and just the cheer. And also because you're watching this video. So let's talk about K-pop. And this is going to be like a really unfiltered, uncensored, maybe not uncensored, maybe not. No, I'm not going to say uncensored because some people will be like, oh my goodness, like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about like stripped down idols or... No, I'm talking about like an unfiltered, uncensored opinion, and it has to do with this whole transition of Korean pop songs and the artists that make them, and these artists becoming crossovers and going into the American music market, and then deciding that they are going to take the Korean language out of their music completely and just do an all-English song or even an all-English album. So there are many people that when they think of idols, they automatically think of K-pop, obviously. And they think of the glitz and glams of the makeup, the elaborate sets in the music videos, the variety shows, the different members and your favorite bias, and the posters you put up on your wall and the fan meets and their birthdays and their signs, and oh my goodness, my head hurts it so much. I mean, you guys are the MVPs because you know all this stuff. You all care enough to make different shirts and posters and pictures of your faves, and you all love them unconditionally. But your faves are in a system now where they're making songs and they're taking out the essence of the Korean language and they're doing all English music. And a lot of these fans who love their biases are still associating them with the K-pop brand, even though they're listening to music that is all in English. One of the biggest prime examples would be Jungkook, who did a whole English album called Golden. Album is very cute. I actually liked it more than what I was expecting to. I don't know. Most of the solos that BTS has come out with have been actually alright. I haven't really hated one. G-Man. I know somebody's like ready to throw some eggs at me. They're probably ready to throw some kimchi at me. You know, it's like, yeah, but I think it was only one that I really didn't like too much. However, Golden marked like the first real like mainstream release from a South Korean artist where it was all completely in English. No Korean to be found. And there were still people that were like, you know, this is K-pop. And how dare he be a K-pop idol and talk about banging somebody 7 days a week with Lotto? I'm gonna be honest, I actually loved it. And when he was singing it felt genuine. And what's really amazing about this too is that he does not speak English well. You could tell he worked so hard to get the pronunciation right, to get the diction right, the flow right. The songs are cute. And I thought the overall project was very cute. And so now we have a lot of these fans that still, even though he's come out with a whole English effort, they say, well, this is K-pop. And I'm like, no, guys. This is actually would be pop. Because as soon as he left the Korean language behind and he released this out into the world and in America as well, this became something that was right alongside all the other pop boys and girls that we know and we love. And it made #2 on the Billboard charts. I did not see this as K-pop anymore. This is a South Korean man doing pop music, American pop music at that. That album was very American pop music. There was nothing K-pop about Golden. And I mean that wholeheartedly. So then it made me think too, sometimes I'm not in the fandom anymore, or any fandom. I just enjoy Korean pop music, Korean indie music. And I see all the shenanigans that goes on still with like a lot of the fights and back and forth with people being super biased and people ready to jump. And I remember the conversation about the Grammys and them being xenophobic and them talking about, well, BTS never wins, or they sometimes are slighted or completely ignored. And I sit back and I make myself a drink and I just sip it slow. Because there were so many armies screaming and crying and saying that, well, the Grammys is xenophobic. But those same armies, stay with me here, listen to me. These are the same armies that took Jungkook's Golden, all in English track effort and labeled it K-pop just because he's South Korean. Isn't that not also xenophobic? Because you are putting a Korean man, not a Korean American man, South Korean American man, in a box when he's created a whole album full of American pop tracks. And I don't think that a lot of K-pop fans and a lot of armies sit back and think about this. It's like you're being xenophobic too, without realizing you're being xenophobic. Because K-pop is what? Korean pop music. So once the Korean language is taken out of it, it's no longer K-pop, it's no longer Korean music. It is now just regular pop music. And this descent into American pop music for South Korean acts is not new. It's just that Jungkook had the BTS's fame and the ARMY support to go super mainstream with it. And I'm very happy for him to be successful with his limited English skill. We have from like the early 2000s into the 90s to like the early 2000s, 2003, 2004, 2008. There were legendary South Korean acts that were knocking at the door of the American border pretty much. We had people like Boa, who she actually had a whole English album, and it was a great album. Eat You Up was on the American airwaves, but the problem was that nobody knew who she was, and people knew of the song because it was kind of getting traction, but nobody knew it was her singing the song. Fantastic music video. She looked good. The overall presentation was good. It just did not get the attention that it deserved from non-K-pop fans or people that do not listen to K-pop. The same thing happened with Seven, who was on YG Entertainment. Very well-known, legendary solo singer. He actually got a collab with Little Kim, and that's a big deal. Little Kim is a legend. She was on that track singing and rapping. And the track was kind of like a little generic, but it was cute at the same time. And that was another kind of flop, fail. Even with like the push of Little Kim and BET, and once again, his fans from all over the world who saw it and still supported it, even though there's always like that whisper of, oh, it's too American, or it doesn't sound Korean enough, which I think is always funny because we keep looking at all of these groups. We also had Wonder Girls that tried to break in with their English version of Nobody, which is basically just a ripoff of like the overall visual presentation of like the Supremes from the old school. Even though I like what they tried to take that influence and like really make it into something big, because it blew up in South Korea. We had Sonyeoshide that also tried to break in. Both of these girl groups tried to break in through like the Nickelodeon Disney channel. They tried to go on tour. They were like opening for acts, and it caused people to know them, but they still never got through the door. And BTS was the ones that definitely opened up the door. I'm not going to take that away from them. But at the same time, we're not going to pretend like there weren't artists before them trying to break through. But it just didn't have the star power and the full backing. And BTS broke in. And this also leaves another conversation about what is considered like too sexual or too X-rated. I'm gonna need a lot of people to stop thinking that South Korea is like this PG country and that young South Koreans don't talk about sex and one night stands and girls' butts. And especially if you speak Korean, like I speak Korean, there are a lot of raunchy songs in Korean, and I think it shows that a lot of the people that are making these comments live in a bubble, and obviously they don't speak Korean, and obviously they think like all guys act like a Korean drama where they're not trying to like get you into a room and sleep with you, and they're just trying to like wipe cream off your lip and hold your hand going down an alleyway and skipping through fields. And they're just like men that are so pure, and it's not true. Men are men, teenagers are teenagers, young people think about sex. And it's just funny to me because we get these K-pop fans and they're like, why are they cursing? Oh my god. Like, why is he saying this? Like, he's too Americanized now. Says the fan of the Asian pop music that takes so much influence from, especially like early 2000s American pop, dance pop, rap and R&B, soul music. I mean, they take so much from rap and R&B and soul music. I mean, just black music in general. We could sit and we could go through all the evidence. I mean, it doesn't help that we have the Korean Americans that are producing stuff and they're influenced by it. We have non-Koreans that are also behind the scenes that are giving them these songs and they're just rewriting them into Korean, and it's a whole lot of influence going on here. But I think we need to stop with being so closed-minded about what is too much, what is actually K-pop, what is not. Because it's not as put into one box as I think a lot of people think that it is. It shouldn't be shocking when a South Korean artist comes out with a full English album and they're cursing. It just shouldn't. I mean, Jungkook is a grown man. A lot of these artists are grown. You should welcome it. I'm not one to sit here and bash American music because I know what American music did for K-pop. And a lot of it, if it wasn't for that core influence in that music, we would have no K-pop. Yeah, they have a whole lot of like expensive music videos, makeup, different fashion, and all of that. But it's still, a lot of it still very much comes from the influence from America. So, you know, it's something to think about. When I see people try to pose these arguments, I'm just like, no, BTS does not deserve a Grammy yet. No, their solo works were not good enough to deserve a Grammy yet. And I stand by this. I know some people, they get mad, and I'm just like, it's not their time yet. Like, they haven't come out with anything to me that deserves a Grammy. I don't care how hard they work. They say that like American artists don't work hard too. Yeah, there's a lot of BS artists out in America, but I mean, artists work hard, period. Don't come at me with it. They train from, I mean, they're American artists that were sleeping in their car, that were performing out on the street, that were homeless, that were kicked out by their parents. I mean, everybody works hard. Everybody has a story. I don't like that either. When so-and-so worked hard, they were in a company, and they're better because their choreography is better and all that. You're just biased. That's all. So you guys, this is a lot to think about. Follow me on social media, mostly my Instagram. Also, belong to East Asian pop culture. My link is always down in the description box below. And remember, be real, stay real, live in the real, and I will always be back. Thank you guys for watching. But below how you feel about this. I want to hear all your various opinions. All opinions are welcome. You can throw up your love for UPS. I was about to say UPS, BTS. You can talk about all your various opinions about, American music, pop music, K-pop. I love to read it all.